Hi, thank you for joining me today. And today is the first day of Series 18 of 30 Days of Sketches with Christie's Beautiful Life. Today's sketch you can see in the top left-hand corner there is by Eve, who is Caledonia Papercraft on Instagram. I'll leave her details below, anything that I can find. So I pulled out my cut and paste by Vicki Boutin for this layout, and I'm documenting 2 photos of James, my son, when we were at the recent music festival right next to our house. We bought him a bucket hat, so I wanted to document that. So I'm drawing inspiration from Eve's sketch rather than following it closely. As soon as I saw those chevrons, I thought of this stamp set that we've got at Hey Little Magpie with this beautiful big chevron on. It's called Directions. And I wanted to use that to stamp onto a pattern paper to create these beautiful chevrons. So I pulled out this text paper, and you can see there I've used bundled sage to stamp onto that, watering down the ink once it was on the stamp. So adding the ink and then just adding some water with a paintbrush and then stamping it down. You get this gorgeous watercolour effect. So I'm now cutting those chevrons out, leaving a slight border because I am going to draw around the edges of the ink using a black pen just to define those, and that creates my 3 chevrons. Now these are going to point to the photos, which will be on the right hand side, and then those strips that Eve has in the sketch across the bottom will be going along the right hand side of my page. You'll see that in due course. So just getting those trimmed down. They're still a little bit damp, so they do curl a little bit, but it just adds to the texture on the layout, so I'm very happy with that. So I wanted to create a base for my strips to go down the right hand side, so I'm just watering down some of that same ink and then using my mini brayer just to get that situated across the right hand side. Just rolling the brayer in various directions, and then once it's almost dry, pushing that paint right into the paper so that it dries quickly. I did want to add some splatters, so I am just going to move this to one side to dry properly. While I'm doing that, I can map my photos. So I'm just going to map them very simply onto white cardstock, and then I'll add a black cardstock border once they're matted onto the white. So just getting those put down, and then I'll use my scissors just to trim that out. So this layout came together really quite quickly, and I'm ever so happy with it. You'll see how it grows as I create. So the weather wasn't great at the music festival. If you've watched my videos this week, you'll have seen a previous one. It did rain quite a lot in the afternoon. James, being James, had just gone out in a t-shirt because it was still really warm, but I wanted him to have a bit of protection from the rain, so we started off with a bucket hat. We did end up getting him a hoodie as well, just to protect him that little bit, but he's a hardy 17-year-old, so he was absolutely fine. But I love this hat on him, so I just wanted to get some pictures and document that in our album. So there they are, matted onto the black cardstock. That ink is more or less dry now, so I'm just going to, as I mentioned, draw around the edges of these chevrons with a black gel pen, just to give them a little bit of definition. So I won't make you watch all of that. And there they are, all done. And then I'm going to work out what I'm going to add as my strips on the right hand side now. So starting with this gorgeous green stripe, I'm just going to add, it's around about 1 inch this strip, and I'll just distress all the edges, and that's going to go down, just cutting a bit off the top because I don't want it to go the full 12 inches. I think I cut about 1 inch off the top there. And then using my Tim Holtz edge distresser just to get those edges all roughed up. And I just wanted to create a few different layers here on the right hand side. You'll see, I think this is the only pattern paper along with those chevrons that I use on this whole layout actually, because then I come in with some stamps. So I'm starting off with this All in Create stamp, which has got the gorgeous little hearts and text on them. So I'm just rolling that in a few different positions using hickory smoke just to create a little bit of texture. And then I'm coming in with this circle stamp. This is from one of the Hey Little Magpie stamps. I'll just see. I think it's the Directions. Yes, it's on the Directions stamp. So it's on the same stamp set as those chevrons. And then this long stamp of mini chevrons, again, is on that same Directions stamp set. So I'm just going to stamp that twice just to create a lovely long line going right down that strip on the right-hand side. So now that long strip is stamped, I'm going to bring in the strip of paper and the photos. I just want to check that I'm leaving enough space for those chevrons to sit on the left hand side, and then I've got some of our new border dies I've used to cut a couple of borders to add to this edge. So while I'm deciding exactly where those are going to go, I'm going to do some stenciling. So this is our new clouds stencil, and the idea behind this was that you could just use the edges of the clouds to create a beautiful cloud texture, so keeping the cloud white and then just having the edges in blue. And you'll see how I layer that up across the page using the different sizes of clouds that are on that stencil. So see how effective that is. It's just creating that look of clouds at the top above those photos. So I just wanted to bring in one more using the largest cloud here. And that's all I wanted from that stencil, but I just love that look. So now that stenciling's done, I can stick these pieces down. So starting with this longest piece there, and then I'm going to add that circle border die. You can see I've ripped it in two because I wanted it to go above and below the photo. There was no need to have extra behind it, so just putting that in place. I wanted to get these chevrons down first, like I say, so I could see exactly where the photos would go before I carry on layering. I'm just using my T-square ruler to check that these chevrons are straight. I still don't think that they're absolutely straight, but it's not bad. I don't know why I do that to myself, trying to get things in a horizontal line. So that's more or less it, and then I can get these two photos stuck down. So just using my ATG gun. In fact, I'm going to have to go back in with some wet glue because there's so much texture behind the photos now that they aren't staying on the layout very well. So I'll just give that a bit of help with my Nouveau Deluxe glue. So adding these two circle borders, and then I do come in with one of the mini scallops afterwards. You'll see that in due course. So just getting those stuck down first. And because I'm not using a lot of papers, I really wanted to create some texture and some different ideas on these strips on the right hand side. So you can see I've got the paper that I've distressed the edges of. I've got that circle border piece that I've cut in black cardstock, and then this small irregular scalloped border that I've cut from black cardstock. So next I wanted to add some stitching. So I just grabbed a tan coloured wax thread from my stash because it matches the tan colours on his bucket hat, and I'm just adding a couple of really long stitches going behind the photos. Of course, I decided to do all of this after sticking the photos down, but there was a method in my madness. I wanted to see exactly how those photos were going to sit on the page so I could work out where everything else went. So I'm just having to pull them up a bit to get these stitches and borders stuck down. So there's the first one, and then I decide I do want another one to the left of that scalloped border. So just going in again, I just use my needle. It's just an embroidery needle, so it's thick enough to get it through easily, but without creating a huge hole on the page. And then just using washi tape to secure it on the back. So now those two stitches are down, I'm just trying to decide what else I can add. So I'm going to come in with a little bit more stamping. Again, this little diagonal line is from the directions stamp. I think I only used that stamp set today, and the All and Create one. It's amazing how many different things I've managed to squeeze onto one stamp set, and they're all really useful. So I'm pulling out the puffy stickers from the Discover and Create collection, and I noticed that there was this word handsome, so I wanted to use that. And then I also spotted smile, so the title is going to be Smile Handsome because he's not quite smiling in these photos. So I'm happy with that and the positioning of that. Just checking that it's straight, of course, with my T-square. Just having a little tidy up here. I don't know why I didn't cut that out of the video, sorry about that. And then I decided that I wanted to add some washi here. So I'm just going to add a strip above and a strip below the photos, and I'm using some glue just to hold it in place because it's quite old now and it probably won't last if I don't do that. So just adding that glue there to hold it securely, and it's a gorgeous black narrow washi with some gold stars on it. See, that photo hasn't held, so just having to glue that down again. And I do mess about with these a lot. I wanted them slightly offset, but each time it fell off. I couldn't remember how I had it. So these two have been cut from another Hey Little Magpie die set. One says Go See Do, which has been cut out of Craft, and the other one says Rome. These are, I think it's called the Travel Arrows set. Really useful set. So just using those as embellishments really underneath the photos. And then going into the foam stickers, because I saw this foam sticker that says bucket list, and I can't see that I'm ever going to use it as bucket list, so I've cut the bucket off, and I'm going to use some of my alphas from my stash to write new bucket hat on there. So here they are. It's the Studio Calico mini alphabets. I'm still deciding where it's going to go. I really do faff about with this a lot, but it goes up the top there. And then I'll create the word hat underneath the word bucket. So just pulling out those letters. And just getting them stuck down. Just seeing if there's anything else I can use. Don't think. Oh yes, just the little gold paper clip. I thought that was quite cute. Almost looked like it was holding the photos together. I do move that paper clip over to the right in due course. Now this again is another die cut from Hey Little Magpie. It's the Viewmaster Reels. That's the smaller Viewmaster die, and I'm just going to use that at the top left just to create a tiny cluster up there. So I have the Viewmaster Reel, just adding a couple of puffy stickers, just a little heart and a little puffy arrow. And then getting that stuck in place. And then this one says, it looks good on you. So again, perfect for pictures of a new hat. So I'm going to have a quick look through the ephemera pack to see if there's anything in there. This is a mixture of the ephemera and also the papery pieces. I was hoping to use one of these word phrases, but I just couldn't get it to work. I look at a couple of them, but they're really quite long and the page is already quite busy, so it wasn't going to work. But then I spotted this paper clip, and I just love the blue of the butterfly, so I'm going to cut off the paper clip edge and just use that as a butterfly on the page. So I'll just bend it up slightly because it's quite a thick acetate. It holds its shape really nicely, and it's just going to sit there above the title. So just using a bit of wet glue to hold that in place. And then I'm going to add some journaling. So just using my T-square ruler to get those lines down, and then my black gel pen just to do the journaling. And I have left all of this in for you, just so that you can see. It doesn't take long. And I'm just staggering the journaling from top left to bottom right to keep that diagonal line going, because this layout, it sort of goes from the top right to the middle left and then back to the bottom right. So just checking that I'm happy with that. Realise that these chevrons aren't quite straight, so I'm just going to pull them up and mess about with them a little bit to get them back into position. Again, probably should have cut this out of the video. I'm beginning to wonder now whether I did actually finish editing, because there seems to be a lot left in that I wouldn't normally leave in the video, so I am sorry about that. But you'll see my full process here. This is exactly as I create. It was just sped up 2 times. So now these are my little bits and pieces that I keep in little acrylic drawers on my desk. And I found this little gingham heart that I thought would go nicely, the colours go nicely with the photo. And then, of course, a tab to hold my date. Sorry about the wobbling there. And then one of the JD 3D print seagulls, which I thought would just look really cute at the top there. So just going to glue that in place and then get that tab sorted and the date added. We're pretty much there now with the layout. I'm just having a quick look around to see if there's anything else I want to add. So there's my tab, here's the scrap card to add the date. I've grabbed the wrong roller date stamp there because I'm between the two working on older layouts and then these newer ones. This new roller date stamp, again from Hey Little Magpie, runs from 2023 and the other one goes from about 2012, I think it is. So just trimming that out and then that will be glued onto that tab. And that's it. I hope I've provided some inspiration. Thank you so much, Eve, for the gorgeous sketch, and I shall see you again very soon for the next one. Bye.